Hello?
Something's moving. Something is moving. Freak.
Bigger than a normal size man. Dude.
Yeah, it's creepy.
That's over there. Dude, that's right over there. Yeah, yo! What? No. That was a knock.
If you think an Appalachian encounter is terrifying, this video will completely change how you see the woods. We'll reveal blood-curdling screams echoing through the Canadian wilderness and up-close footage that left a seasoned forest ranger shaking in fear. Are you ready to face the unknown? This strange footage comes from the 2001 IMAX documentary Great North, filmed in a remote area of northern Quebec. The crew was recording a large herd of caribou when something unusual appeared in the background. For years, almost no one seemed to notice it. About 15 years later, the strange figure was finally discovered and began getting attention online. Behind the moving caribou, a large, dark figure can be seen crossing the landscape. It appears to stay upright and move on two legs. Because the figure is far from the camera, it is impossible to clearly identify. But some viewers began wondering if the IMAX crew had accidentally filmed a Bigfoot. The YouTube channel Thinker Thunker, known for analyzing alleged Bigfoot footage, later took a closer look.
And we'll scroll him out a bit. And remember, we never see anything more than his head and torso. And if that is 4 foot, his head and torso appear a bit taller, which wouldn't that make him the tallest man on the planet? I mean, are 7 and 8 foot tall guys generally that fleet of foot? And how about this? What if this isn't 4 foot? Because remember, the male caribous get up to 7 foot in length. Anyway, suffice it to say that that is surely the largest cameraman ever in history. I think somebody should tell him, here's your movie. Point your camera at this guy.
Using the nearby caribou as a rough size reference, he estimated that if the figure were human, it could be around 8 feet tall.
Okay, so next let's do speed. And look at our guy up there. He appears to just kind of be floating, doesn't he? What I did to give us a better idea of this was I marked one of the caribou so we could have an actual race. Sadly, it looks like the caribou won. This is a flat patch of earth they're running on here before they go back into the drink over here. You have to admit, for a 7, 8 foot or taller guy, he's incredibly fast and fluid.
He also compared its movement with the running caribou. Even though the figure appeared farther away and it was moving across rougher ground, it still seemed extremely fast and unusually smooth. This made Thinker Thunker question the idea that it was simply a crew member. He later interviewed William Reeve, the cinematographer who actually filmed the scene. Reeve said the crew had only 9 people, and that everyone was positioned on the same side of the river as the camera. There were no strangers, bicycles, four-wheelers, or crew members moving through the herd.
The Great North, the movie, a long time ago, was a fantastic experience, and I learned how to build an igloo. The principal actor, Adami, the Inuit. We also went mussel fishing under the ice, the pack ice on the shore in the village that we were at, where the sea was lapping at us under this huge, that was quite an interesting experience because you're underneath thousands of tons of ice. And absolutely not. There were no strangers for hundreds of miles of where we were. Only 9 people, and we used 2 helicopters at the riverside, and we were the entire crew were on the riverside of the, well, there were no four-wheelers, there were no bicycles, there was no one on foot, and there's absolutely no way that we would put a human being in that kind of world rushing through his person. On the shot, would a film production risk the life of crew members like that, putting them out in the middle of the stampeding herd? Well, course not. We had our share of close calls, I can tell you that much, in many, many different productions. Why did you stop? Why did you not stop?
According to Reeve, the figure was not part of the film crew. So what was moving behind the caribou that day? Was it simply an animal that looked strange from a distance? Or did this IMAX camera accidentally capture a Bigfoot? This video was uploaded on October 4, 2019 by the YouTube channel Stargel Blackstar. Gino Mikas was hunting grouse with his wife and grandson in the forests of northwestern Ontario, Canada. They were more than 50 kilometers from the nearest town, deep in an area where moose, black bears, and wolves are common. Gino had spent much of his life hunting in the wilderness, so he was familiar with the sounds of local animals. But that day, something sounded different.
Oh my God.
From somewhere deep in the forest, a long and powerful scream suddenly echoed through the trees. At first, Gino thought it might be a moose, but then the sound came again and again. The howls seemed to move closer to the family, and Gino said he could hear something moving through the woods. Whatever it was sounded heavy. His wife became frightened, picked up their grandson, and quickly started walking back toward their vehicle. As they moved away, Gino pulled out his phone and began recording. The strange cries continued in the distance while his grandson even tried to copy the sound. Gino later said he had heard many animals during years of hunting, but he had never heard anything like this before. After the recording was posted online, viewers suggested several explanations. Some believed the howls came from a large wolf or even a grizzly bear, while others thought they could be connected to Bigfoot. Ontario wildlife biologists said the sound may have come from a large mammal, possibly a wolf, but the distance made it impossible to identify for certain. So what was making those strange cries in the Canadian wilderness? A known animal, or something much harder to explain? The most unsettling moment may come when you realize the thing you were following could have been aware of you first. In this investigation, former military survivalist Russell Accord moves deep into a thick and disturbing forest. He believes he is following the trail of the creature that may have built a strange shrine hidden among the trees.
That doesn't happen by accident. Look how fragile it is. This space makes every piece of your body want to turn and run.
As Russell works his way through the heavy brush, the surrounding forest becomes unusually quiet. That silence is soon interrupted by strange noises coming from somewhere in the darkness. Each sound immediately puts the experienced tracker on alert as he considers the possibility that something may be watching from beyond the trees. Russell raises his thermal targeting scope and begins checking the forest for hidden heat signatures. The investigation was later featured on Expedition Bigfoot.
I want to see if anything visits this space, because whatever put this structure together, whatever put these things in place.
Then something unexpected appears. The thermal scope picks up a large upright figure moving between the trees. Its bright heat signature shows what appears to be a tall biped traveling through the rough and crowded terrain with surprising ease.
I want to know what did that.
He continues following the figure, but suddenly it breaks into a sprint. The creature races through the dense forest at remarkable speed, moving between trees in complete darkness and crossing difficult ground much faster than Russell would expect a person to manage.
That thing that looks like a skull, the goat skull, it's got heat on it. How did that thing get heat?
Standing alone in the darkness, Russell begins to realize that while he thought he was tracking the creature, it may have already known where he was. Just as quickly as it appeared on the thermal scope, the figure disappears back into the forest.
That's not natural at all. How does something like that generate heat? It's a piece of wood in the middle of a forest.
For Russell, the investigation ends with an unsettling thought. Thermal cameras detect differences in heat, not the identity of an object, and dense trees can make distance and size difficult to judge. Still, the movement remains unusual. If you saw this figure nearby, would you continue following it? On July 9, 2026, the YouTube channel Cursed Urban premiered a video titled "Bigfoot Investigation Goes Wrong. He Was Following Us." The investigation follows the team as they enter a remote forest where unusual Bigfoot reports have continued to attract attention. The team begins following a series of unusual clues while searching for possible evidence of the legendary creature, believed to move through these isolated woods.
Yeah, but guys, tonight we are back in the Bigfoot forest. But there has been a recent uptick of sightings of Bigfoot all across the country. So we decided to come out here, we want to investigate, see if we can possibly capture anything on camera, because I don't think I've been there since around November. But yeah, let's keep it short. Let's get started. Let's see what we find.
Their goal is straightforward. They want to examine unusual structures, follow whatever evidence they can find, and determine what might be hidden deeper inside the wilderness. As they move farther into the dense forest, the search becomes more intense. Surrounded by thick vegetation and near total silence, the group continues looking for anything that could suggest the presence of the mysterious creature. Eventually, they discover something unexpected among the trees. A strange structure stands hidden inside the forest, unlike anything they expected to come across. Its presence raises an uncomfortable possibility. If someone or something deliberately created it, the group may not be alone.
So what some viewers have said is they think this could be like was trying to make something, or it was like a spot where they were just collecting random stuff, like hiking sticks. There's that weird, there's like a twisted, like, look at that thing, that's straight up bent. Yeah.
Soon another mystery emerges. A distinct knocking sound travels through the trees, immediately causing the investigators to stop and listen. Although the noise seems to come from some distance away, it is clear enough to catch their attention and make the situation increasingly unsettling.
Yeah. Yo!
What? No.
That was a knock. You heard that, right?
At first I didn't, and then it processed.
That was what I was talking about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Right back there, guy. Well, not right back. It was far. That was for sure a knock. Very quiet.
Later, while the group rests in a secluded part of the forest, another unusual sound comes from the nearby trees. A second distant knock sends them searching for its source. Close by, they locate what appears to be a possible nest-like structure concealed within the vegetation.
Yo!
That's over there.
Dude, that's
right over there. Is that the
That's
nest?
where the nest is.
Let me pull my out. All right, we heard it like right somewhere over there.
Focus camera. The camera's not focusing. There we go. That came from right. That sounded like a knock. That sounded like another knock, right?
Yeah.
Then the quiet is interrupted again. Something suddenly strikes the ground near where they are standing, sounding similar to a rock hitting the earth. The incident leads to an even more disturbing possibility. Something hidden in the surrounding forest may have thrown it toward them.
It's literally...
Bro, it sounded like a rock.
No, I saw something, dude. Something was thrown at us.
That scared the shit out of me.
No, something was thrown at us. You see
I
anything?
don't see shit. I hear a frog. That's the only wildlife I've heard in a while, too.
Oh! Yo, that way. Something just broke a tree back there.
After that, the group packs up their belongings and leaves the forest. Cursed Urban also says that he has no intention of returning to this place again. Dense forests can make the direction and distance of sounds difficult to judge, while branches or rocks can create similar noises naturally. Still, the repeated incidents remain unsettling. What do you think was actually happening around them? On May 24, 2025, outdoor guides from Colorado River Expeditions recorded the encounter while traveling along the upper Colorado River. The footage captures the moment the group realizes that something unusual may be moving across the mountainside above them.
It was moving. I saw it move.
Yeah, I saw it too.
It's a berry thing?
The video begins with several rafters guiding their boat down the scenic upper Colorado River during their first trip of the season. As they continue through the canyon, one of the guides notices noticeable movement high on the rugged slope across the river. The rest of the group quickly turns toward the hillside while someone uses a phone camera to zoom in, trying to determine what is moving between the trees.
No, they can't climb out.
I don't know. Out there.
No, okay, it's moving.
Where is it? Do you see it?
Yeah, I do. That brown against the tree right there.
Dude, it's like hidden in the tree.
Then a dark figure comes into view. The figure appears extremely tall and seems to stand upright above the surrounding vegetation. It then moves across the steep and rocky mountainside with surprising ease. The difficult terrain would be challenging for a person to cross, and the way the figure appears to move does not immediately resemble what the group expects from a bear. Its apparent size, upright posture, and steady movement make the sight increasingly difficult for the rafters to understand.
Dude, I can't find it in the phone. Okay, he's straight up there.
Here, bear. Here, bear.
There's some rock coming
It's
down.
like waving around.
Is it?
Bigger than a normal size fan. Dude.
Yeah, it's creepy.
As the guides continue zooming in, the figure appears to stop briefly on the hillside. From their position on the river, it seems as though the figure may be facing back in their direction. The group becomes increasingly uneasy as they try to understand what they are seeing. The footage later shared by Colorado River Expeditions preserves their reactions as they continue watching the figure from the boat. Several videos of this encounter have surfaced online, and this is one of them. While its original source remains unclear, the additional footage offers another look at the mysterious figure and helps provide a clearer picture of what the group witnessed.
He's not moving like a bear. Oh my goodness.
Guys, come look at the phone. You can see it.
Come in peace.
I'm videotaping right now.
Some air is gonna start flying now again.
He's gone. Phone, you can see it.
Wait, I want to see it in the phone.
I want to see too.
Dude, that's weird.
Definitely. Guys, come look in the phone. You can see it.
At that point, the river no longer seems like much of an escape route. With steep cliffs surrounding them and rushing water beneath the boat, the guides realize that they have few options if the figure were to begin moving down the mountainside.
We come in peace.
We come in.
I can't zoom in any more than this.
Distant, steep terrain and limited visual reference points can make an object appear larger or move differently than expected. Still, the figure remains difficult to identify. What do you think the rafters actually captured? Most Sasquatch reports are associated with the thick green forests of North America, but this footage suggests that remote desert landscapes may hold mysteries of their own. On April 16, 2025, the YouTube channel Desert Sasquatch uploaded a video titled Bigfoot, standing in front of me, swaying back and forth. The footage was recorded in a forest near a remote abandoned mine, an area the channel owner had explored before, and where he says he had previously encountered similar creatures. The clip begins with a wide view of an isolated rocky desert. He had walked to the location from his vacation home in the countryside and began filming as he moved deeper into the forest. At first, nothing seemed unusual enough to immediately catch his attention.
Okay, I've got a better angle, I think. You see that thing moving?
The footage then switches to a much closer, heavily zoomed view of the same figure standing among the dry vegetation. From this perspective, the creature appears extremely tall, with the researcher estimating its height at least 8 feet.
Something's moving. Something is moving. Freak!
During the final moments of the video, sunlight reflects off what appears to be a thick coat covering the figure. The surface looks greasy and shiny before the creature eventually moves out of view. But there was something he did not realize at the time. Only after the video was uploaded and began spreading online. Only then did viewers point out something disturbing in the earlier footage. According to them, a dark figure that they believed could be Bigfoot was already watching him from deeper inside the forest before he ever noticed it.
You gotta be kidding me. That's some footage, but that's all I got.
In several moments, the figure appears briefly among the trees while he continues walking without reacting. The man appears completely unaware that anything may be nearby. The short encounter has attracted attention because it appears to place a possible Sasquatch far outside the dense forests usually associated with these reports. According to the researchers who examined the footage, the figure's apparent size and lifelike appearance make the recording difficult to dismiss as a simple hoax. Even so, the figure remains difficult to identify. What do you think was moving through the desert? On August 20, 1992, former U.S. Forest Service patrolman Paul Freeman was exploring the Blue Mountains of Oregon. For several weeks, he had been visiting the area near Deduct Spring after finding large, unusual footprints in the forest. That day, Freeman found more fresh-looking tracks. Then he began hearing something moving through the brush nearby.
This is some of the little ones' tracks that's in here. I come back up here today to cast these. They look like they're about 9 inches long. They're pretty good little tracks. Went right up this old trail. Run around up there to his mommy, I guess.
As Freeman kept his camera running, the sound grew closer. Suddenly, a large, dark figure appeared between the trees. The creature walked upright on 2 legs before disappearing deeper into the forest.
32 inches between the stride there. Yeah, I'm gonna look around a little bit more, let these dry. Yeah, it looks like they've been here. I don't know how, it looks like it's pretty fresh. Yeah, I'll go around this bush here, see what's going on here. Oh yeah, here's where, look at that. I hear the brush popping and stuff. Oh, there he goes. Oh, there he goes. Jesus.
What caught the attention of Bigfoot researchers was the way it moved. The figure seemed to have long strides, low swinging arms, and a large, heavy body. The hair also appeared to react naturally to the sunlight.
It should be right here somewhere. Oh God, there's 2 of them, I guess.
Freeman's son, Mike, later remembered how his father looked when he returned home. He was covered in sweat and dirt. His face was pale and he was shaking. Mike said it was the only time he had ever seen his father truly scared. Wildlife biologist Floyd Hayes said the figure did not move like a typical bear, which normally travels on 4 legs.
Seems to be a fully functional quadruped walking routinely on its hind legs, and bears only walk short distances on their hind legs. This also seems to have a much flatter face than a bear, which has a much more pointed snout. So I don't think that is a bear. I cannot rule this out as being a Bigfoot.
Anthropologist Dr. Jeff Meldrum also pointed to its long arms, massive upper body, low-set head, and natural-looking hair.
This smallish head set low down on the shoulders with massive musculature. Trapezius coming high up on the back of the head is quite apparent. The length of the arms is impressive. As it swings its arm back, the way the sunlight plays across the hair has a very natural appearance, unlike the scattering effect of faux fur.
Viewer reactions were mixed. Some called the Freeman footage highly convincing, while others questioned why modern trail cameras still have not captured clearer proof. One viewer even wondered whether hair could have been collected from the tree the figure brushed against. So what did Paul Freeman really capture that day? A person, an animal, or something still unexplained? Honobia, Oklahoma has been tied to Bigfoot stories for decades, including the famous Siege of Honobia in 2000. The town now even hosts an annual Bigfoot festival. So when another strange figure was filmed near Honobia in 2023, the footage quickly drew attention. On September 30, 2023, Reddit user SasquatchBalls45 shared a short video with the RR Bigfoot community. According to the post, the footage had been sent to him by a friend who was hunting near Honobia. But when the video was reviewed, something large could be seen moving between the trees. Far off in the woods, a tall, dark figure appears, partly hidden behind the thick forest. At first, it seems to stand almost completely still. Then, after a sound is heard, the figure starts walking away. What makes the footage unusual is how calmly it moves. It does not appear to panic or run. Instead, it walks through the trees at a steady pace, almost like a person, before disappearing deeper into the woods. The entire clip lasts only about 13 seconds and ends shortly after the figure vanishes from view. Viewers were divided over what they were seeing. Some described the figure as unusually large and pointed to how smoothly it moved. Others believed the simpler explanation was a hiker or another hunter walking through the area. One viewer also noticed what appeared to be a bright or reflective object near the figure, raising the possibility that it could have been human. So was this simply another hunter hidden by the trees, or did the camera capture something much harder to explain? On June 11, 2026, Moxley's Paranormal World approached a sealed and abandoned military base where the atmosphere immediately felt unusually heavy, almost as if something inside was already aware of their presence. The site had been connected to disturbing reports of paranormal activity and alleged alien encounters dating back to 2008. Previous investigators were also said to have fled after experiencing events they could not explain.
Hello? You've had to leave here a couple of times, haven't you?
Every time.
Every single time. Hello? Is there someone there?
Not long after entering, a sudden change in the silence caught their attention. Heavy movement seemed to come from somewhere deep below them. The sound quickly stopped, but the uneasy feeling remained.
Look at that. Shit, made me turn my torch off. Oh, it's a crow. It was a crow. Jesus, yeah, he's gone. My God, I just seen this shadowy figure coming towards me.
Despite their hesitation, the group decided to continue farther inside. Then a sharp noise coming from behind a barricaded section forced them to stop. The sound appeared to originate from somewhere concealed behind the boards.
There's something behind the board. Listen. It could have just been a vibration.
Even after everything became quiet again, the feeling that something might be hiding just beyond their view did not disappear. With every step, the atmosphere seemed heavier, creating the impression that an unseen presence was drawing them farther into the darkness. Then another sudden disturbance broke the silence. The investigation came to an abrupt stop when an unknown shape appeared to emerge from the shadows.
Right, so my feeling, I feel like we're walking into a trap. I didn't want to say it, but that's how I feel. What the F was that?
Moments later, a loud and piercing scream echoed through the darkness, making the situation even more disturbing. As the tension increased, the group issued a firm warning into the darkness stating that nothing unseen was allowed to follow or interfere with them. Soon afterward, a response came through the spirit box as though something had answered them directly.
We have not walked into a trap here tonight. You will not harm us. You will not follow us.
I'm attached.
No, you're not. You're not attached to Moxley. You're not following us from the shadows. We are protected.
So you staying?
No.
Another message from the spirit box appeared to match something connected to a previous encounter. The communication seemed deliberate enough that the group quickly decided it was time to leave the location. Spirit boxes produce fragmented audio that listeners may interpret differently, especially under stress. Still, the timing of the responses made the encounter difficult for the group to ignore. What do you think they were actually hearing? For 8 years, metal detecting in Alaska led to more than buried relics. One explorer repeatedly found enormous unexplained footprints and other strange signs deep in the wilderness, all captured on camera. On March 20th, 2021, the YouTube channel Metal Detecting in Alaska Keithy 6 uploaded a compilation of these unusual discoveries from years of exploring remote Alaska.
Keithy 6 here, Metal Detecting in Alaska. You know, I moved to Alaska about 22 years ago, and I've seen a lot of strange things here since I've moved here. One of them has been footprints that I've found while out metal detecting. I've kept videos of all the times I've found weird stuff, and I thought I'd put them together into a short video for everyone to watch. So check this out. This is 8 years worth of finding weird things in Alaska.
One of those trips began as a normal expedition with his grandson Joe. Their goal was to search for forgotten remains connected to Alaska's gold rush, but the journey gradually became much more unsettling. As they traveled farther into the wilderness, deep mud covered the abandoned road, and smaller trails disappeared into the surrounding forest. Instead of turning back, they continued deeper into the area.
Yeah, the mud's so thick here, my bike's just standing up by itself.
Oh, it is?
Well, so we just came out onto a right-of-way. Looks like there's another path up to the right, too. Well, let's explore.
Just before crossing a large mud bog, Joe noticed something unusual. Pressed into the mud was an enormous footprint with clearly visible toes. Its size appeared far larger than what they expected from a normal human or animal track. If the footprint had truly been left by Bigfoot, then whatever made it may have passed through the area not long before them.
And we have to cross this giant little mud bog, so he crosses, and I'm just about to cross, and he says, "Hey, I thought I saw some kind of footprint." This is freaking crazy. Look at this. Oh, there's my hand. Look at the size of that footprint. You can see the toes. Wow. I think that's like a Bigfoot footprint, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
During another exploration in a remote part of Alaska, the mystery became even stranger. Hidden among the trees, two adventurers discovered a large structure that appeared carefully arranged rather than randomly formed.
WR. It's just kind of sketchy because it's so rocky. Oh, wow. You know what that is? It's a Bigfoot hut.
The unusual construction raised another possibility. If it had been built as some kind of shelter, the enormous tracks discovered earlier suddenly seemed more significant. Large tracks in soft mud can become distorted, while fallen branches can sometimes form unusual shapes naturally. Still, finding both in remote wilderness makes the discovery intriguing. What do you think left those signs behind? On February 10, 2026, the YouTube channel The Sargi Family uploaded a video documenting their investigation into mysterious tracks discovered in the snow. During a nighttime investigation, the Sargi family entered the frozen wilderness and quickly felt that something was wrong. The same unusual marks they had discovered during an earlier visit were still there, almost as if something had returned along the exact same route. The tracks did not seem clearly human or animal. When the family returned during daylight to recover the memory card from a trail camera, the forest still carried the same uneasy feeling.
In the nighttime, we went down there to do some exploring for like a main channel video. We found footprints in the snow that go everywhere. Look like big footprints, which is weird. So we were there at nighttime. I'm gonna go right now in the daytime, and we had the guy have a trail cam at the fort while I was checking the footage to see if whatever made those big footprints pass through, the camera died, the battery died. So I'm gonna go and get that memory card because we forgot to get it last night.
Something large appeared to have crossed through the snow, leaving prints nearly 3 times the size of a human foot. As they followed the trail farther into the wilderness, they realized they had missed important signs during the previous night. The tracks led back toward the same area, partly covered by fresh snow, suggesting that whatever created them may have traveled through the same path again without being seen or heard.
Yeah, here we go. Actually, we missed these last night. There's some here. Look at my footprints. You can kind of see, oh no, you can't see the toe outline anymore. Okay, so where did they come? Not from there. It did snow all night, so it probably covered up a lot.
In daylight, the family examined the trail more carefully. Some impressions remained visible beneath the frost despite the earlier disturbance around them. Nearby, they also found a snapped tree and unusually wide spacing between several of the footprints. The discovery left them questioning whether the tracks came from something ordinary or from the legendary Bigfoot, especially because of their unusual size and visible toe marks.
Yeah, we found a pine. So here's a big one here. You can kind of see a toe outline. Again, look at my hand compared to that. Like, that is superiorly bigger than mine. As you guys know, I did not cut any trees through here or expand, but look at this. Chris noticed this. A tree snapped, and there was like 3-4 others. More of these massive footprints. And there was an area where we found actual pee. We found the footprints. Oh yeah, look at this stuff here. Like you can see outline of toes in this one.
Then another strange event broke the silence. A deep humming sound suddenly filled the area, low and heavy enough to seem as if the air itself were vibrating. The sound grew stronger, seeming to come from all around him. Standing still, he believed it was not normal wildlife, and that something large might be nearby.
I'm hearing some strange noises all of a sudden. It sounded like a very big humming. Like something humming very loudly.
Snow can enlarge or distort tracks as it settles, freezes, or becomes covered again, making their original size difficult to judge. Still, the spacing and nearby damage remain unusual. What do you think made these tracks? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.